Alright, so for some reason the sound didn't record on the video when I was filming this. I guess it was connected to CarPlay and I have no idea what I'm doing, so the sound didn't record, but basically I was telling the story of what happened at Mercer Labs, this new museum or whatever, like an exhibition in downtown Manhattan. After I had a really nice experience there the first time. I went with my brother for his birthday, and we really liked it. So I decided to take the kids back a week after. And basically, it's like this immersive experience. Like, there's 2 exhibits on the main floor, then there's 4 on the second floor, and then you go downstairs to the basement, and there's another 8, I think. So when we got to the basement, there's like these 2 exhibits, one with a ball pit and a like electric slide with like lights. So I knew my toddler would love that. That's why I went back. And then there's like this workshop thing, I guess, where there are like coloring pencils and print out coloring pages, and you color whatever you want, and then you give it to the employee there who's standing there, and he puts it in like this 3D printer, and then the picture pops up on a screen and it comes to life. So like if there was a picture of a dinosaur or something and you colored it in and you wrote your name like on the dinosaur itself, like when it pops up on the screen, it's going to be exactly that image, and then it's going to be like dancing or moving or doing something. So my daughter loves to draw. She's 2. And so she took a coloring pencil, a few coloring pencils and a page, and she started drawing, like scribbling. And then she got a little bored from it, so she went to the ball pit, had a little fun there, and then came back. And by that time, like, the table was empty. It's like a table probably with 10 seats, all adults there, because I'm sure like people don't want to pay for their kids to go there, or it's just like a hassle. I mean, we didn't have to pay for our kids because they're under 2. I mean, they're 2 and under. So she starts drawing, and the guy comes up who's working there, and he's like, "Oh, are you guys done? Blah blah." And I'm like, "Sure." Like, I didn't think she was gonna draw again. So he takes her paper, he crumbles it up, and he throws it out. And my daughter comes back and she wants to draw again. And he sees that she's reaching out for a paper and a pencil, and he's like, no, you can't do that. And my daughter like gets scared, like she comes to me, and I'm like, whatever, like I'm not gonna say anything because like I don't want her to misbehave. So I let it go. So a few minutes pass, and my husband gives her another paper and a pencil, and the employee there, he starts yelling, and he's like, "No, you can't take another paper." And we're like, "Why?" It's like a printable coloring page, like it literally costs nothing, like probably a cent to print it out. And he's like, "No, it's 1 per person." And we're like, "Okay, but that's like you're talking to adults. This is a toddler who's drawing. Like, there's nothing else for her to do in this like museum but this. Like, it's coloring. Like, it's okay." And he's like, "No, I can't let her take another paper. Like, that's the policy." I'm like, "What are you, like," we're like, "What are you talking about? Like, what policy? It's a 2-year-old child drawing. Like, nothing's gonna happen. She's not harming anything. She's not ripping anything. She's not making a mess. She's just taking a piece of paper with a pencil and she wants to draw." And he's like, "Absolutely not. I'm gonna call security on you guys if you don't stop. Like, if you go ahead and take another paper." And we're like, "Okay, call security." Like, and my daughter like starts getting upset because she sees that we're arguing with him, and my husband, who never raises his voice, is like, you're literally getting a 2-year-old child upset over a coloring page. Like, let it go." And he's like, "Okay, you guys are threatening me. I'm calling security right now." And he goes on his whatever walkie-talkie and he calls security. I'm like, while you're at it, you can call the manager too, because this is absolutely insane. And so he calls the manager. and like the security guard and the manager come at the same time, and the security guard is kind of like ready to fight off whoever like he thought the threat was there, and he sees us two parents with like a toddler and an infant. Like my son isn't even one yet, and he was eating on my lap, and he's like, okay, what's going on here? Like there's no danger here, I'm gonna go because I have better things to do. So he kind of shakes the manager's hand and he goes. He's like, let me know if you need me. So the manager asks us what happened, like why we called him, and we're like, this employee wouldn't let our daughter draw. And he kind of like looked disappointed right away, like as if it's not the first time this has happened. He was like apologizing a million times, and I'm like honestly, we don't need your apology, we don't need anything. Like this is just absolutely wrong. Like I understand like kids cause trouble everywhere, and like adults, especially in New York City, just aren't very friendly towards kids. I get it. Like that's why there are adult only places, restaurants, resorts, whatever, like whatever you want to call it. But this wasn't the case. Like if you're gonna have a museum open to kids, like the least you can do is be like tolerant to kids. Like I'm not saying to be kids friendly or like to make the whole thing revolve around kids. I'm not that kind of parent. Like before the haters come at me and like, oh, like the world doesn't revolve around like your kids. I get it. The world doesn't revolve around anyone's kids, including mine, and it's fine. Like, but like you don't need to have the world revolve around kids in order to allow them to color on a coloring page at a museum where there's literally a ball pit with a slide and coloring pencils with coloring printouts. So I thought it was the most like insane experience we've ever encountered. I mean, like where else are you gonna see this? Like this is such a New York City thing, and it really did push me to share this and make this video and talk about it. And I don't know, maybe I'll get some feedback back. Maybe I'll get some feedback back from you guys regarding maybe you had the same incident or just something similar at Mercer Labs or somewhere else. And I thought, why not share it? Because a business doesn't deserve service who treats people like this. Like if you're gonna have an employee at a place like this where he has to like talk to people, to customers on like a daily basis, and he's like, you know, not in the back office, like you have to choose people who are respectful human beings. Like he was so serious about it, and even after the manager and the security guard left, he didn't tell us anything anymore, and but we didn't want to do anything. Like we just wanted to get out of there after we already paid. And like at that point when we had this experience, like we barely just got there. Like we've been there for maybe like 20 minutes, and we already wanted to leave because it's just, you don't want to be in an environment where there's a person like this. And he saw nothing wrong with what he did, basically not letting a 2-year-old draw. Like, you know, I'm not saying that you should let a 2-year-old, like some people will take like their kids to a 5-star restaurant and it's like super elegant, and like they'll just make a mess and they'll be rowdy, and it's just an inconvenience to everyone. And I get that. I don't want to be an adult out on a date or out on a day trip and whatever and just have to experience that as an onlooker. But this was not the case. Like the place is meant for even adults to feel like kids, and the fact that he wouldn't let a child be a kid was the most ridiculous thing to me. I mean, like, who calls security on a 2-year-old toddler? Like, it's the most is that what you're threatened by? If you're a grown man and you're threatened by that, like, you have bigger problems. And it's just, I don't know, it's just something I will never forget. And I thought I'd share with you guys. Let me know what you think. If you've experienced that there as well, write down in the comments what happened. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. I don't know if I'm gonna make more videos, but I kind of thought that this was really interesting and I wanted to share. So that's that. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I don't know if anyone's gonna get through this whole video because this is really awkward. I don't know. I've never recorded anything. So, yeah, thanks so much.